Hi everyone. I think we're ready to get started for this particular webinar. Hopefully the audio is coming up okay. So we're waiting for a few more people, but I'm just going to get started with the introduction. So just to tell you a little bit about myself, my name is Kwa. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a consulting agency dedicated to Office 365 and SharePoint called NIFTIT. I act as the main solution architect, and we are pretty involved in the SharePoint Office 365 community, speaking in events in Brooklyn, Hong Kong, New York. So you can find my contact information on the bottom right of this slide. If you have any questions related to Office 365 or SharePoint, feel free to shoot me a message. Be more than happy to take it. In terms of the organization, we've been mainly implemented in New York, Vietnam, and Hong Kong. We've been up and running for 5 years now, and we basically dedicate ourselves to helping clients in the non-SharePoint Office 365 space, so mainly Microsoft technology stack. And we have about 100 successful projects, implementation, and clients at the minute. So let's take a look at the webinar series that I'm building on Office 365. And the reason why I'm building this particular webinar series is basically to help out small, medium businesses to integrate or move towards an Office 365 solution. Now, if you are like an IT professional, you are an administrator, you're definitely welcome to join the session, but it may cover things that you may already know. Here, the focus is to really go into the basic of Office 365 and go through each one of the tools and see if you can gain a better understanding of those tools so that you can adopt that to your business and gain in collaboration and productivity. So it's a 10-part series. Like today, we're going to cover the introduction, but as you can see, each one of those will run for 30 to 60 minutes. Most of them will cover and have some demos associated with them. Today, we're covering Office 365 as a whole, and then after that, I jump into Exchange, Microsoft Teams, Skype for Business, OneDrive for Business, Power BI, Flow, the Office Suite Online, SharePoint, and then a little bit more of SharePoint because it's a long subject, so we're going to cover security and permission too. So if you have any other requests, feel free to email me. Again, I'm happy to extend or review some of those parts, but that is the current agenda for those webinar series. So let's dive in. Today, we're going to take a look at what is Office 365, how does it compare to the marketplace, what are the licenses available, what is the pricing that you should be thinking about when you're small and medium businesses, the tools that are available on the platform, and then we're going to review some of the administration, basically the sign-up process, managing your first few users and groups and licenses, and managing some of those products within Office 365. But the first question that I get quite often actually with small businesses where the director and the co-founder is also the IT manager and the finance director at the same time and the HR manager. So there's a little bit of confusion when it comes to like what is Office 2016 and what is Office 365. So Office 2016, when I ask, hey, do you have Office 365? They will mention, yeah, we have that in our desktop, we have it installed, and we're happy with that. So not to be confused, like Office 2016 is the productivity suite. It's typically installed on the client, that means on the desktop of the client, and then it's going to be things that you're pretty familiar with, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and then if you have the enterprise or the pro version of it, you're going to have like OneNote, Access, Publishers, and things of that nature. So those are really productivity tools that are installed. Again, you may have access to the online version too, but that are typically installed on your desktop. Office 365, on the other hand, is a bundle of Microsoft products available on the cloud, and that is a subscription base. So you're going to have a lot more tools available on the Office 365 platform. You're going to have like things that will help you manage your files. We're talking about OneDrive and SharePoint, for example. You're going to have access to like emailing and calendaring, which is available through Exchange, Outlook, the calendar features. So when you're comparing those two to Office 2016 is the desktop application with those 5 to 7 tools that we mentioned. And then Office 365 is a suite of products, and it ranges from video and presentation all the way till enterprise collaboration. Those are available again on the cloud, distributed by Microsoft, and then it's a subscription based, whether you decide to pay monthly or annually the subscription license fee. And when it comes to the licenses, there's definitely quite a bit of flavors. You're going to have like 2 main buckets, which are the business and the enterprise licenses. So business licenses are usually for organizations that are 300 and below. And those are the ones that I'm going to focus on today, because obviously the webinar is intended for small, very small businesses and medium businesses. So if you have 300 employees or 300 licenses need and below, you're most likely going to take a look at the business licenses. And then for each one of those buckets, you have even more different flavors underneath it that will give you different type of services and products on your license fee. So the one that I recommend if you're small and medium businesses is definitely going to be the business and the business premium with a mix of K1 licenses, and I will demonstrate that in the next slide. This is assuming that you don't have currently Exchange Online or Outlook Online running, or you don't have an emailing client that you would like to hold and that is currently hosted on your on-premises environment. So we're talking about net new clients, net new organization that don't have a robust emailing system and that are ready to do the move with Office 365. So the business premium are going to be great pricing in North America to gain those features. And the main difference between those two licenses, the business and the business premium, is whether or not you're going to need access to the desktop applications of some of the Microsoft Office Suite product. So let's take a look at the pricing, and let's take a look at how that will work out on a regular case. So let's say that you have an organization of 25 people. 20 of them are core members, like they do marketings, they do creative, and 5 of them are freelancers. Out of the core members, you have 10 of them that are Office Suite power users, so that means that they use on a daily basis, whether it's Exchange, whether it's Excel, whether it's Word, and they really dedicate a lot of their time towards those tools, right? So we have 25 users, how it's going to, look out from a pricing perspective. So what I would typically do is, because 10 of them are really power users, they are going to need the Office Suite on top of all of the other Office 365 products that are available with the business subscription. I'm still going to add them to the premium licensing. So 10 of them will be under the premium licensing, and that will be $12.50 USD per month if you pay annually. So that comes up to a total of 125 USD. And then after that, the 10 others, like maybe creative people that have the need for access to their email, to Office Online, but that don't really use or spend a lot of their days using client application of Office, they will need in that case the essential version, which will get them email, Office Online, Yammer, SharePoint Access, Skype for Business, all those different tools that will view in each of the webinar that I'm doing. And then for the freelancer, it's really like people that just need to have like a email box that will contain our domain, right? Like, so they need to have like a at johndoe.com just so that they can interact with the clients or interact with the internal team. Most likely, I'm going to put them, although it's an enterprise license, I'm going to use the K1 license because of the cost, and I'm going to put 5 of them towards that $4 per month if paid annually, and that will come up to $20. So if you're looking at the cost for the entire organization, the 25 members, it's going to be under the $200 threshold, and it's going to cover pretty much everything from mailing, file storage, intranet collaboration, document creation, and we're going to review that. So what are the tools available? What are they used for in a typical case scenario with an Office 365 business, business premium or business essential case scenario? So in our case, we're using essentials and we're going to use premium. So the exchange will come out of the box. You have like a mailbox of 50 gig of storage, which is plenty. I've been using mine, for example, for the last 4 years. I get about 5,000 email per month. It accumulated, and I still haven't reached out the limit. So in terms of what is the exchange will do for your organization, that is used for your email, that is used for calendaring purposes, and that is used to store your contacts from different sources, information. Then you're going to have, or not, depending on the Office 365 business licenses that you have, but you have access to Office Suite. Whether it's purely online, and that is the essential. That means that they can access Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote through the online, through the web, through their favorite browser, but not having the desktop application installed on their environment, or through the business premium. And in that case, you will have the ability to download and apply licenses to the desktop application for each one of those tools. Now, you also have access to SharePoint, which is going to be your document management system, the intranet platform, the collaboration platform. This is where you store maybe your HR information, marketing documents that are related to a project. So all of that is going to be held on a tool called SharePoint. Then you're going to have access to something called Microsoft Teams, which is basically intranet or internal collaboration and communication tool. It's really meant to work on different projects, create teams that are of a small size or subset of the organization, and being able to communicate, create quick links, Wikipedia documents, share information. Then other tools too that we tend to forget, but that are available for Office 365 users, are going to be the Power BI, which is basically an analytics and reporting tools. You're going to have access to Microsoft Flow, which provide automation, workflows, and then you're going to have access to some of the feature of Power Apps, which allows you to create business applications and create some of the automation that may be needed in your business. So because I'm trying to really provide a full scale or full view of the marketplace, I have to mention about some of the competitors, or at least some of the alternative to the Google Suite product and the Office 365 product, and one of them is going to be Google Suite, right? So it is also available for small medium businesses at the cost of $3 per month in the North American market. You're going to have a lot of the similar tooling, so like the mail, the calendar, the contacts are going to be available via the Gmail. You're going to have conferencing meetings via Hangouts, document storage via Google Drive, and document creation via the Google Docs. So it's going to be your Google Word, Google Excel, and whatnot. So the only thing to note is that the main difference right here, it's really going to be around the other products and the ecosystem that your organization may have. So if you need some type of analytics tools, Power BI is available on the Office 365 platform, and that will allow you to do some amazing reporting. If you have the need for desktop application, then you're going to have that available through the business premium and being able to access the full standalone of the Word, PowerPoint, Visio, OneNote, etc. So there's definitely differences in terms of the pricing. It's something that I wanted to mention because some of the organizations that we work with went through that step and then converted back to Microsoft Office 365. But that's something to consider too when you're talking about migrating to something that is cloud available, that is on a subscription base, and that gives you a whole lot of value for the pricing that you're paying. So let's talk about the sign-up process. And so let's say that you have reviewed the different tools, you decide that you don't want to manage your Exchange on premises, or use your Gmail to do client interaction anymore, and you want something a little bit more robust. You want really to have all of those suite of products available, the support and the availability with the Office 365 platform. So you have two choices for the process of signing up. The first step that you can do is really go and visit the office.com site, look for the right license that you want to purchase, and click on the Buy Now button. And that will go and guide you through a series of information forms, credit card information, until you get to the payment processing. And that works just fine. You have another option too, is to contact directly with your IT managed service provider. So if you're working and you have like an IT partner, like what we do with some of the organizations that we work with as part of the consulting services that we provide, contact them. They will be able to walk you through not only the purchasing, but also the domain migration, the migration of the mailboxes that you may have created prior to the migration to Office 365, the setup of the organization profile, creation of partner relationship, setup of the services and add-in that are available on Office 365, as well as the security and privacy policies. And I will walk you through some of those throughout the demo. But it's really important to note that when you sign up for Office 365 and you found out the plan that you need, it's not only a matter of putting your credit card, set up, creating an account, and off you go, right? You definitely have some setups that are available to you that you should go through in order to leverage the best out of the platform. In terms of managing the user, the groups, and the licenses, in the demo that I'm going to show you, it's assuming that you don't have an Active Directory on premises. That means that you don't use an index of all of your users already in your premises to log them in or to have them go through some security policies. If you never heard about Active Directory or you don't use it, then that's fine. You're going to be able to follow along those steps. If you do have an Active Directory, and that is a specific case when migrating to Office 365, I will be providing a separate videos in the next few weeks that will cover that, and that will show you how to convert and how to move to Office 365 while maintaining your Active Directory on premises for your line of business application. And what is really easy with the platform is that in a few simple clicks, you can create user, you're going to be able to create groups and assign them different permissions and security, and you're going to be able to establish licenses that make sense for your organization. So in the case, if you remember a few slides ago when we mentioned about the K1 license versus the Business Essential license for the organization that we created, those are going to be managed through the Office 365 admin platform, and I will be demoing that. And so for each one of those tools that you have access to, whether it's SharePoint, whether it's Power Apps, whether it's Skype for Business, there is a separate admin center with a whole lot more settings and features available. And those will be reviewed in each one of those series that we will go through. So demo time. So let me go ahead and switch to my desktop. And I have the Office 365 Admin Center available. So in order to do that, you go to portal.office.com. It's going to ask you for your credential, your email, and your password. You just plug them in, and you should land on a page that pretty much looks like this. From the home, you're going to be able to access quick links, like if you want to quickly add a user or create a new domain. But mainly it's going to provide you information like your activities, the message center. This is where you get information about the Office 365 platform as a whole, whether they're launching new features, whether there's service updates or platform updates that are going to be proceeded in the Office 365 environment. Everything will be pretty much at hand right here. What interests us and that match basically the demonstration was the ability to create new users. So I'm just going to click on users right here, and you're going to see like active user, your contacts, deleted user. What we want to see is the active user right here. And so this gives you the list of all of the users as well as their appropriate or associated licenses right here. So let's say that you want to create a new user, and you have to click on the add user, and then I'm going to create John Doe right here, and then just correct that, and I'm going to create an email right here. I have multiple domain assigned, so right here, so I'm just going to choose the NIFTIT.com email domain, so that way it just look nice. And then the location, I'm just going to set him as a United States user. I can fill out and pre-fill some of the information for him. So let's say that he's the sales director. I know he's coming from the sales department. The office is in Seattle, Washington, etc., etc. So password, you have two options, or you can create an auto-generated password. That means that it will be provided to you as soon as you click on the add button, or you can create one and just provide him with a specific password. But usually I would leave this as auto-generated and forward that to the user so that they can go ahead, and the first experience that it will get is to ask them to change that password. Now, the product license. For each one of the license that you have available, you can turn that on or off for that specific user. So in this case, you can see that I'm out of Exchange Online license, I'm out of Exchange Online kiosk, I'm out of pretty much every licenses. But it does say that if you're out of licenses, you can just go ahead and turn that on, and it will try to do the purchase for you. So Office 365 Business Essential, this is the license that I want to assign to John Doe. And you're going to see that automatically it's going to assign the To-Do, Power Apps, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Planners. All of those are basically subset licenses of the Office 365 Business Essential. And per default, it's activating all of them. But let's say that I don't want John to mess with Serie. I don't want him to use Microsoft Flow, for example. I could easily turn that on or off. It depends on your migration procedure and how you're planning to drive your user to adopt the platform. And so if you're saying, well, I'm going to give them access to every tools and every features that is available with their license, go ahead and do that. If you're trying to do it step by step, let's maybe do Exchange, OneDrive for Business, Skype for Business, and SharePoint first, then you should definitely restrict accordingly to your migration step. So I'm going to leave everything open right now and let them basically explore all of the different features available with their Business Essential. And once I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and add this. And right away, because of the initial sign-up process, it's going to try to do the purchasing of the product using my credit card information. So everything should go smoothly. The case that may errors is if you have an error in your credit card information, or it expired, or you did not provided that information accurately to the Office 365 team. But here everything is going correctly. You can see that it's adding the user, and right here it's giving me the temporary password which I need to email or provide to that person so that they can sign up and set up their proper information. Now that I have created that user, let's assume that I want to change his license. I made a mistake. This is not the right license that I want to assign to John Doe, and I want to assign him maybe F1 license or business license. So let's go ahead and find that user right here. You should be able to find it. And right here, again, very easy to reassign licenses. What you're going to do is click on Edit the product licenses. And from this step right here, you're going to be able to turn on and off some of the licenses. So I'm going to put him under the F1 license, which will, the Power Apps license, for example, and save that. And it's going to re-edit the permission for that specific user. And what it's going to do though, it's still going to put, it's not going to cancel your previous license. So you have to manage that correctly, because it could easily increase your bill. So what you have to make sure is that if you do not use that license, or you don't need it in the near future, just go ahead and cancel that. And to do that, what you need to do is go to the billing, go to the licenses to see all of the subscription that you have available. So right here, you have 16 business essentials licenses that are valid, but I only assigned 15 of them. So I have one license that is not used. So what I want to do is go ahead and cancel that. So I'm going to go to subscription. It's going to load up. And you're going to see a lot of the information right here. And I'm going to go Office 365 Business Essential. I want to add or remove a license. And I'm going to decrease that to 15 and submit that. And that will set me back as the proper number. That is a good way to take a look at those services. Once again, you don't want to pay for things that you're not using under the platform. Make sure that you do a quick check, or that you have your IT manager making those regular calls for you, just to make sure that you're paying the bare minimum that suffice for you to do your business. In terms of groups right here, this is a cool feature too. It allows you to create security groups or distribution groups. So the distribution groups is basically like just for mailing purposes. Let's say that we have like a need for a sales us.niftit.com. And so I can add a group right here, and I'm going to select the nature of that group. So if it's an Office 365 group, a distribution group, a mail enable group, etc. So I'm going to create a distribution group, which is basically a group that allows all of the members of that group to send email to a list. And I'm going to call that Sales USA, for example. And it's auto creating that name for me. I can create like another name, Sales.US, for example, at NIFTIT.com. And once I create that group right here, I'm going to be able to go inside of it and assign the right people, so that everyone get the email when someone send an email to the sales at sales.us@niftit.com. So right here, we're going to go ahead and look for that group. Might take a few distribution group. Might take a few minutes to report it in the view. I'm just going to do the example through this creative group right here that we have. So if you want to add John Doe to the creative group, right here, I will go right here and change that. Edit the members and being able to add the members right here. So I'm going to search for John Doe and add that specific user so that he's available on that distribution group right here. All right. So with that being said, let me go back to the slide. That kind of ends up the demo. So let's take a look at like what we covered today. We've taken a look at the Office 365 platform as a whole, the different products that are available, the licensing, the pricing, and some of the admin features that you have available. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them on the channel of the Webinar Jam. I'd be happy to answer them. If not, you can always find me via email. I hope you enjoyed this session. I'm going to stay connected for a few more minutes to answer any of the questions that you may have. Have a good one, and looking forward to the Serie 2, where we will be talking about Exchange. Have a good one.